moving on to the AFC East here. Again, starting from the bottom. This is definitely be tough because I think there's a lot of variables in play for this division particularly, but you know, I have the Pats being last here. And I don't know. There's just a lot of questions at quarterback. Is Mac Jones the person? They did bring in Bill O'Brien to help out with the offense, and he's had success with like lesser quarterbacks. So that could be something to just look into. That it's a Belichick team though, so you know that the defense is going to be hard nosed. Have a solid running back there in Stevenson, and then Juju can be a solid wide receiver there. But yeah, I just feel like that offense can definitely be anemic at times. Maybe not as talented compared to also the rest of their very tough division. So I have them last there. And then moving on to the next team, I got the Dolphins here. They added Jalen Ramsey, but I believe he's going to be hurt for maybe like half the season or a good chunk of the first half of the season there. So that value, as even though he's one of the top cornerbacks in the game, that defense has decent players there. But losing that Jalen Ramsey going into the season, there's a lot of like, oh, this team could definitely be there. I just don't see it at this point. So, and there's also those questions with Tua. He's like one bad hit away from like this team is screwed basically. So, I think Skylar Thompson is still like their quarterback too. So, I don't know why they didn't necessarily invest in like, a decent veteran quarterback of some sort. Maybe they just didn't want to scare Tua or anything or something like that. But, this team does have a lot of offensive weapons, with McDaniels having that speed. I just think that there's some other teams that I'll be going up talking about later that just have a little less question marks there. But this Dolphins team, though, surely could run things up if they had Jalen Ramsey. They could have maybe make a surprise a little bit here and there against these top teams there, but I just didn't see it. So and then the next team I have on here, a little bit of a surprise, I guess. I'm gonna pick the Bills. I think they might regress a little bit. You know, they struggled a little bit when Von Miller was out because of the lack of pass rush. This team did add Leonard Floyd, who I think had 9 sacks last season. But I remember him from like the Bears, and then also what he was doing with the Rams. He needs like a good pass rusher to kind of complement him. I feel like, and without Von Miller, I just don't see the on the defensive side, on the defensive line particularly, a solid pass rusher that can help out Floyd there. And then Von Miller too came off ACL surgery. I think he's on the pup list, so he's going to miss a couple games too in the beginning of the season. They might split the first 4 games. I think honestly, I think they have a couple games on the road there, and then the Dolphins they face at home. So a lot of variables there. I think could happen. Yeah, they were going against the Jets and the Commanders away. So and can definitely talk about the Commanders. Eventually, but yeah, I like the Jets. I have the Jets winning this division actually. This team last season, without a quarterback, right? With like a bottom, 5 quarterback play, I feel like they were making a run. They were beating some really good teams. Have some playmakers on defense. Have one of the top defensive linemen there. Quinn Williams. Have one of the top cornerbacks in the game already, year 2 now, going into Sauce Gardner. And then they also have Garrett Wilson, who got 1,000 yards last season as a rookie, and have Dalvin Cook on the offensive line, on the running back side to pair up with Breece Hall, who's hopefully healthy. There's just a lot of talent I feel like on this team to look forward to. I feel like, and for me, yeah, just a lot less question marks I think with the Bills. Bills, yeah, their defense right now just not there, and then Stephon Diggs, still think he's gonna have a solid season, but he's only getting older there. So yeah, gonna go Jets here. Think they have a little bit more of an upward trajectory with their 39-year-old quarterback there, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I can't agree on this one, man. I got a completely different mix going, but I think I gotta start. I mean, I don't know where I want to start with this one. I mean, I personally have the Bills still returning and winning that division. Like PFF and the other defensive ranking metrics I've seen have placed the Bills in the top seven. Um, at least defensive line, they say their depth is very deep, even beyond Von Miller. Gregory Rousseau was a really good edge rusher last year, but I think it's more or less strength in numbers and having McDermott's schemes to kind of keep them in games. I think that having Hyde and Boyer back there just as veterans also helps. I mean, on offense, I don't think a lot's gonna change for them. Josh Allen is still incredibly productive. I see him doing that with Diggs. Um, I mean, obviously they drafted Dalton Kincaid, who kind of can slot in as a slot receiver. He can be a tight end. He's going to go with Dawson Knox. I just think adding Latavius Murray and dropping the smaller Singletary, I think they're really like emphasizing power on offense, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Like I think that there are some shortcomings with the Bills that I'll get to, I think, later in this episode. But I think, in the same sense, I think there's too much of a roster there for them to kind of fall off their perch. I guess my second seed is Miami. I like Miami this year. I like their explosiveness. I'm excited about Tua being there, and they did grab Mike White, who was at least when spelling Zach Wilson was doing a competent enough job for the Jets. I mean, still wasn't good enough, but in the
Hmm.
grand scheme of things, I think Tua can stay healthy this year. If he goes down, I think Mike White can come in and manage an offense to an okay ability. I mean, I think they'd probably be maybe below 500, maybe still in those games, but I've maybe a little bit more optimism in Tua staying healthy this year, and I like his wide receiver combo with Waddle and Hill. They brought over Robbie Anderson, Braxton Berrios as well, and then looks like they're going to trot out that three-headed monster in Mostert, Wilson, and um, A Chain. So I'm like excited to see like how this is all going to play out. But I think they also pair that with a really good defense. I mean, they're being ranked in the top 12 and number four overall for defensive line, with Jalen Phillips kind of continuing to kind of grow on his first couple seasons in the NFL, and Christian Wilkins is kind of like one of the best graded defensive interior linemen in the game. I do agree with the Jalen Ramsey points. I think that's going to hurt them, especially based on kind of what they were projecting, with him in their secondary. I think from what I've read, they have one of the better safety combos in the game with Javon Holland. And I can't remember the other safety they have offhand, but in the same sense, I think there's enough team there to, keep them, in the playoff mix. I have them as a playoff team this year. I'm excited about how explosive that offense is going to be, though. And I guess it just comes down to the Jets. I mean, I agree with you on the Pats. I think they're in the basement there. For me, I think the Jets defense is going to be what carries them for most of the year. I think they do have talent, but I'm also kind of like being a bit realistic about who Aaron Rodgers is as a quarterback now. I mean, over the last past season here with the Packers, I mean, he stumbled basically the entire year until he finally kind of put it all together in the last home stretch there. But I don't know if he can just necessarily fall back on his heroics, bailing him out if he's trying to kind of cobble it together after starting slow. I think Dalvin Cook is a little bit aged at this point, and I think there are certain cast members like a Randall Cobb. I like Alan Lazard. Randall Cobb seems to be a little bit outdated. So I just think there's a lot of names. There's a ton of personality over there. They're getting tons of press. I don't think that necessarily bodes well for them. I'd much rather be the team flying under the radar to start the year, but they do have a great defense, so it's not going to be. They're going to be a competitive team. I can see them pushing to get into the playoffs. I guess I don't have them in my playoffs this year, but I think um, I'm not as much buying into like a Super Bowl run for the Jets. That's where I'm kind of at.
Yeah. Hey, that's fair. That's definitely fair. And I mean, I think the thing for me is like, where Tua goes, the Dolphins go, and it is hard, I guess, for me to just be like, yeah, Tua's going to be, healthy. I think he's played 13 games, I think, in a season, right? And and in this competitive division, I feel like it's each game is going to be very important. So missing 4 games, say he does play 13, like that could definitely make the difference there. Mike White or whomever, right? So, uh, yeah, I think that's just where I have concerns there. But I do agree. I think from at least a talent standpoint, I feel like the Jets kind of stack up with whomever, but at the same time, like, are they focused at all? Like, there definitely is a lot of drama. I think that maybe a lot of other teams don't want as much. So I definitely agree with you there. So, but yeah, I guess going to the back to the Bills and everything. Uh, yeah, I mean this team can definitely I feel like make a push there, and it's just like one of those. I feel like that they've won how many division titles I think in consecutive years. I think like the past like 5 years or something like that, or close to it. Maybe Brady got one there with the Patriots, but yeah, it just seems like there's going to be a time where it's like, yeah, maybe not anymore. Or yeah, maybe they do pull off a something like the Chiefs, in their own division, or kind of like the Braves, right? So, uh, yeah, I just have a feeling. I think the Jets, all the drama, all the Aaron Rodgers flair. Uh, what did Joakim Noah say about the Miami Heat? They're Hollywood as hell, but they're good. So that just might be kind of what I feel like the Jets are. So
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We've got our picks here on the board. I love a little banter, and it'll be fun to watch play out. I mean, I think at the very least, the AFC East got better, and it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch them go at it this year.
yeah, yeah, for sure. This definitely is one of the toughest divisions I think by far. So